Welcome to the Small Business Evangelist radio show, the show that brings you candid interviews, case studies, and cross-industry insights to help you accelerate your own small business success. Here's your show host and small business evangelist, Jack Schoenberger.
Today's guest on the show is Brian Ainsley Horn. Brian is a best-selling author, investor, and entrepreneur, and he specializes in helping professionals leverage their knowledge to gain authority status in their industry and then use that authority positioning to get national media exposure. His unique methods have been talked about and covered on the Howard Stern Show, the Wall Street Journal, Perez Hilton, CBS News, Forbes, Advertising Age, and dozens of other media outlets. Recently, Brian did an article for Influensive magazine, and it caught my eye because he coined the term authority equity. So we got hold of Brian, and I asked him to be on the show today so he could tell us a little bit more about authority marketing and how you as small business owners and entrepreneurs can leverage authority marketing to grow your business. Brian, could you please just tell us a little bit about your journey, how you came to be in the world of marketing and online marketing, digital marketing, and your evolution in that space to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. I started off I first got my feet wet with online marketing when I was still in the corporate world. I was an IT director for a fairly large corporation. I had an office here in Houston. I was over there IT here in Houston. And this was in the late 90s, and they were tasked with building out an intranet to get a lot of the paper processes automated and put online. I really didn't know a lot about that. So back then it wasn't even Google, it was Yahoo. I was searching for things in Yahoo, figuring things out, and during that time I said, wow, all these things that are coming up at the top of results for Yahoo, I'm buying some of this stuff. There must be something to this. So I would start searching for how to get to the top of the results in Yahoo, and I discovered SEO then, started playing around with it a little bit, and then went and pitched an idea to a local web hosting company to start offering SEO services in addition to their web stuff, web hosting and design. And it really it took off from there. I did stuff with them for a while, and then we parted ways. And I started doing consulting, and shortly after that, I found my way to somebody that was in Dan Kennedy's Platinum group, and I got him. He did a bankruptcy recovery, and I got him ranked like at number 6 for the term bankruptcy, just a single word bankruptcy. And he brought that up in one of their Platinum Mastermind groups, and so they wanted me to come in and talk about SEO. So I went in. Dan hired me to do all GKIC stuff, and about 4 or 5 other guys there hired me also. And it just went from there. I started with some info products after that, and then did built out some softwares, built the membership things, and continued to do consulting throughout the whole time. So that's the story.
And you made a move then that was back then. Was it Horndog SEO? That was actually the guy, the bankruptcy guy. He likes to give nicknames for everybody, and he started calling me Horndog and introduced me there as the Horndog. And so that's what Dan always would call me, Horndog. And what's funny about that is I hadn't heard that in a while, but that was, my last name is Horn, so you got, Horny Toad, Horndog are pretty common nicknames throughout my childhood. But yeah, that just popped right back up. Right. I remember seeing your services for SEO under that moniker. That's why I remember. But then you came back up on my radar then whenever you started moving into the world of again, almost, I don't know if you coined the term along with your partner Jack Mize, but I think you definitely brought more attention to it now, the term of authority marketing. And I think you guys were as bold to go on to say now that you guys don't even like SEO anymore. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, I mean, SEO is a good thing in of itself. Getting to rank for something in the search engines is awesome. The part that we did not like, and that I still do not like about offering SEO as a service, is that you're in so little control of it. And there's almost something a little bit unethical about offering that, because you're really not in control of it. So now, if you say, okay, I offer a 100% guarantee that you don't pay me unless you're ranking for these particular terms, that's one thing. But if you say, okay, my services are $5,000 a month, and for that I'm going to do this, and this, and I'm going to, we're going to do our best to get you ranked for these terms. So what ends up happening almost all the time is that you end up getting ranking for longer tail search terms, and if you're not even guaranteeing traffic, you're not guaranteeing conversions. So the person that you're selling SEO to is envisioning one thing. They're envisioning ranking for these top terms, good qualified traffic coming in, converting, and them getting new customers. And that's a hard thing to promise with SEO. Paid ads is a different story. That one you can control. You can tweak small things to make it work. SEO is tough to do that with. Some people can, and I'm all, if you can do it, and your people are happy paying it, I'm all for it. But what I liked about offering authority services or authority positioning, expert positioning type services is that it's something you can deliver 100% of the time with confidence. You just look at the person and say, I know this is exactly what's going to happen. We're going to get you appearances these places, and then we're going to build out give you an advertising campaign based around that for you to use the plugins to the other things that you're already doing. You can pass it off to your social media marketing consultants, to your paid people running your paid ads, and it's just some extra things you can do to build into your existing marketing.
So when you take a look at really whenever you're offering the authority marketing and you're helping these people, your clients build, and I guess the word maybe is like prestige, which is, kind of like a combination of authority and credibility and celebrity sometimes. What do you think? And you mentioned about how that almost helps enable or augment these other things like paid ads and all. What is the biggest, like plus one that authority marketing does for that space?
The biggest thing I see it with, as far as like with building into a marketing metric, is with conversions and length of sales cycle, because you do get the part that's hardest to build is trust. That's what takes the longest, is the hardest hurdle to overcome for everybody. But that's what builds that trust. Not that they're going to trust you as I think with a brother or a friend, but they trust that you know what you're talking about. And that's one of the other. There's plenty of other hurdles you're still going to have to overcome, but that's a big one. Just that, does this person really know what they're talking about? And if you, like I said, you're writing books. If you have a published book, and they can see that, okay, he's published a book on topic XXX, that's he knows what he's talking about. He's published a book, or he's he writes for Entrepreneurial magazine on this topic, or he's been quoted an article in Huffington Post. You do all these little things that you can show people and leverage these authority positioning pieces to overcome that hurdle. This person knows what they're talking about.
And it's one of the things that I've noticed now, and other people, even some of the kind of business celebrities talk about it, is the fact that in the middle of pitches, they'll see the people pick up their phones, and it's not that they're necessarily checking email, but they're actually Googling them as they're giving the pitch just to see what Google says about them. And
right.
and using that as an example, it was Gary Vaynerchuk at the time I was talking about. So, and here's a guy that is, all over the media. But then even taking a look at other people that I know that with you and Jack, some of your clients, if you Google their name because of, and you Google their name, just because of the fact that they are appearing in these magazines or on these podcasts and all, that almost becomes, the whole page is like taken up with these, authority and credibility links. It's almost like you can use Google as your portfolio now, if this is done right. So that's one of the things that I find fascinating about this authority marketing space. Now, in the Influensive magazine article that I talked about reading recently, you coined the term authority equity. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, authority equity is basically just anything that can that adds to or subtracts from your real or perceived value, tangible, intangible, just as a business person, employee, business owner, anything. So it's just basically just that you have the things that make you valuable in your role, or distract from that value, all part of your authority equity. It's your capabilities, your expertise, but it's also your attitude, relationships, your reach, your influence, your uniqueness. Your equity is the value of all those types of characteristics. So it's a thing that's in constant flux. Things you can always add to it, and you can always there are always ways that could be subtracted also.
And also, I remember not that long ago saying that you had written a book that kind of combines the neuroscience behind authority. And the book, I believe, was called Neuro Authority, correct?
Right.
And
yes, Neuro Authority. It dug into neuromarketing, which is the science why certain marketing works. Like one of the most famous example of that is the Pepsi challenge, which was back in the 70s or 80s. I remember when it was, when Pepsi actually did the blind taste tests,
mm-hmm.
and Pepsi won handedly. But if it was not blind taste, they drink Coke, people liked the taste of Coke better. And what they did with the neuromarketing later on was they actually redid the test and actually put sensors on people's heads and tracked brainwave spikes. And they found that people actually, it wasn't just them thinking that or just saying, hey, just that because it's Coke, I like it better. Their brain was actually telling them they liked it better. They were actually liking it better when they found out what it was. And that was because of what Coke had done so well by branding themselves so well. They've actually changed the subconscious way that people experience their products. So that's neuromarketing. They're constantly finding other ways to do this. What Neuro Authority is, it's looking at ways to use the same type of techniques and strategies, but to use that to position yourself as the undisputed authority or expert in your markets, using the same techniques that neuromarketers have been using since the mid to late 90s is really when that started coming and started testing more of those things. To using that just not for marketing, but for just branding yourself as that authority.
Now, is this only a field for big companies and big brands, or a lot of our listeners are going to be small business owners? What are some of the things that they can do to start establishing their own authority?
Some of the easier things to do is putting content out there. One of the things we talk about is that being authority. One part of being authority is being an educator and advocate for the success of your prospects and customers. And that just means basically you want to educate your people. You want to give out free information to help them learn more, to solve some of the problems on their own, or at least moving forward through the process of solving it. And you can do that through putting content out there. A good thing, a piece that is not just on your own blog, you want to put it out to other places, so other places are publishing you. We've talked. We'll put a link to your up here if you want to. We have a resource that goes through the process of how to apply to several different places, like the entrepreneurs and inks and fast companies. We have a site, marketinginsiders.com, that if someone wants to contribute marketing advice, they can apply to right there. You can also use like medium.com. You can write on LinkedIn Pulse. You can write for BuzzFeed. There's a lot of sites for you, other sites you can go for, and you can start writing and putting out your content, and then sharing that with your market so they can see that you've been published other places. That's the easiest thing. That's literally, you can sit down and write an article and do a little research, write an article in an hour, and you really don't have to write that much. You can do a listicle type article, like if, say, you're writing one about let's see, like one of the most fascinating people in your industry. So whatever industry, I'm going to write the 7 people to watch in my industry, and you just go out and you research. You find seven people, and you do just a little bit of research on them on other sites, and grab some content, paste in your site, rewrite it a little bit, reference back to the sites you got it from, and you make a list of 7 people that way. And what's interesting about them, or you can do plugins or apps that people 5 apps every person in this industry should have on their phone. Easy little things like that. So it doesn't even have to be that complex of a deep article. Just something small that people can use and show that you are that you can help them. And again, that's pretty easy to do. The key is to having that published other places. Also, just getting interviewed on podcasts. You can do a little research and pitch yourself to 5 to 10 different podcasts, and you'll definitely get at least a few interviews out of it. If you're going to reasonable ones, you obviously cannot go to the Joe Rogan and other really big shows to get on, but you go to some smaller shows. They're always looking for guests. If you have a good angle for them, you can get on that way. So that's probably the easiest thing. There's some more advanced ones that can be done, but just getting your content out there on a site with pretty open posting policies and some smaller podcasts are pretty easy.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I know that there's probably some of the listeners right now, and at one point in time that would have included me, that if you would have told me, well, you just need to start writing, and getting that, the word writing would start freezing me up almost right away. So, yeah. Other than podcasts, is there any way else somebody who really doesn't want to write can actually create content? What would be your recommendations for the people that are kind of phobic about writing? Should they have ghostwriters? Should they hire a content creation company? Do they lose any authenticity by doing that? What's your experience with that?
Yeah, one of the things that I like doing, I still do this from time to time, is if I have a topic in mind, I'll get the topic, and I'll start doing research for it. I'll find 3 to 4 to 5 articles that have different pieces I like out of it. So I want to write an article about X topic. I want it to cover these 4 different things, or there's 5 different things. I'll find 5 different articles out there that talk more deeply about that one, each one of those pieces of the article, one of those 5 pieces. And then you can use a service like Writer Access, not iWriter, writeraccess.com. And you can hire a writer that go through and grab that will pull the content from all different places, and write you a unique article based on the research and the information you provided. Give that to you. You can go. I'll go back and put it in my own words and probably change up 20% of it, where it's they've done 80% of the writing for it. So I'll go back and make that much more unique. Put some personal anecdotes in there, and then when you're posting it somewhere, you add images, little humor if that's what you're wanting to do, and Yeah, so that's an easy way to do it. Then you're really not having to write off. So the hardest part about writing is starting off and having that blank page. But if you have the idea for a piece and you just go and do a little research and grab a few resources and pass it off to somebody else to go and like accumulate all that, all the vast amount of information you provide and whittle it down to the best, 5 points, and put it down in a proper format where it reads right, and then you can just go back and make an entry. And that's much easier. Anybody can do that.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, we always talked about being a lot easier to edit than to write. I mean, even when I was writing different types of evaluations and even Intel products when I was in the military, it was always easier to edit other people's work as it came across and add that. So that's some great insight and some great suggestions there. One of the other things I wanted to ask you about, because when doing research for the interview, and kind of following your career throughout the years, is that I saw that it's relatively recently, I think, that you started an innovative, I think is how you classify, innovative publishing company, Ainsley Allen Publishing. Could you tell me a little bit about that and what makes it innovative?
Yeah. Well, the publishing company is geared specifically for entrepreneurs and business owners, and the purpose is, to create books that sell you versus books that sell. We really don't care if it sells a lot of books or not. We want it to be a book that can sell the person. So we start at the service you're going to want to sell with it, which most people that come to us are wanting to sell a high in either consulting or coaching type program, something in the $5,000, $10,000 plus range. And we'll build out a funnel for that starts off with a free copy of the book. So we'll, just like what Russell Brunson has did with his, where you can get the book for free. You just pay $5.95 shipping and handling, and that covers the cost of printing and shipping it out. So you're absolutely at no loss to that. You're not making any money at all, but you're breaking just about even. You might make a few cents or lose a few cents depending on where it's being shipped to. But and then it'll go through the funnel, goes from that free book to another couple offers in there. What first offer upsell is usually designed to offset any type of advertising costs that you want to do. So we like doing video versions of the book, which is basically just a PowerPoint presentation of the book in like an online class type format, like a webinar. That's just pure content. You can have some offers in there, a big offer at the end, but it's not a sales webinar. And then the final upsell is usually offering some type of a consulting session for a small amount, just to get on the phone with somebody. And then once we do that, we build that part out first. We know what the real offer. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what works best. And then we build up the content of the book from there.
So you're really starting out with the business end in mind first, and build around that. And you mentioned about not being too concerned about the number of books sold, but it's actually because at the end of the day, really it's influencing the right person or reaching the right person. It doesn't need to be a lot of people, but I find that's definitely a different way than a lot of publishers go about it. Now,
yeah.
And I think in taking a look at the website, the other interesting thing about your publishing model is you don't charge any royalties for that type of thing. Right?
No. Right, and that's what most publishing companies make money off books being sold. Usually, if you go and you get a book deal, you have to guarantee a certain amount of books are sold. So they give you an advance, but you're guaranteeing that the book's gonna sell a certain amount for you to get that. So you actually, if it doesn't sell, you're on the hook for buying, usually a couple thousand books at the cover price. Usually you could be on the hook for $20,000-$30,000 if it doesn't sell. Now, I know people have gotten burned by that and lost money. So what we don't charge, we don't take any royalties or have any minimum book buys. We just charge a straight marketing fee to set everything up. And because that's what it is, we're building out the funnel, and the book is a marketing piece. It's all a 100% tax write-off, at least in the States. So it ends up being better all the way around. So we just charge that one thing no matter what. It's a marketing expense. We build it into your marketing package, and that's really what it is. It is a marketing piece and a marketing project.
Now, going back to the person that, first of all, might have been scared to write a single article, it could be a pretty daunting idea to write a book. Are they on the hook for, sitting down and writing, spending hours and hours and hours, writing, then sending it off to an editor? How does that process work?
Yeah, no, we do it a couple of ways. They're actually not writing, because that is, again, people get into the fear of starting the process and staring at a blank screen. So we do go to one of two paths. Either it could be like an interview-based one. We actually will sit down and talk to them, and after we decide on the overall scope of the book, we'll help outline every chapter, and then interview them to get the content from them that way, in their own words, writing it out, and that one takes a significantly less amount of their time. Or we do a similar process to what I described with the article writing process. We will get their ideas for different chapters, go out and find other content and resources and research out there, and pull from that and have ghostwriters write that, and then go back with them and put it in their own words and make it more unique in industry and work with them on that. And both of those, you're looking at time maybe like 8 hours total. Wow. Time on a finished book, which we like to. They're usually about 150 pages for a little paperback type book. So we try to keep it. If we go over much over 8 hours of the time, if we go over 8 hours at a time, we've done something wrong, or there's been a little break in the process. But that really doesn't happen too often. Usually when it does, it's the writer is just wanting more to be more involved, and it's by their choice, and they're happy with it.
It definitely sounds like a unique model in this space today, and you just reminded me of a recent article that I read. Ryan Holliday, who's a best-selling author, has written some books on Stoicism, the obstacle is the way, and the ego is the enemy, and such. And he has a new book out. Right now, the name escapes me. I want to say it's Perennial Bestseller. Maybe the title. Perennial Books. But he wrote an article. What comes to mind is he just wrote an article in the Observer, and it was unique coming from a guy whose actual best friend is in the publishing business, and also tries to help entrepreneurs. But he put down the article was in the Observer, and it said, attention entrepreneurs, please don't write a book, which seemed almost like counterintuitive. And his argument in there was that he doesn't want to see a bunch of, poorly written books come out there by people who aren't really driven to share their message. And he says there's other things other things that those people could be giving. But I'd like to, see what your opinion, from what you've told me so far. What I see is the fact that the approach that you're taking and what everyone's doing is trying to be an advocate and educator for their clients. These aren't ego pieces that are being written. So what do you think about Ryan's position?
Yeah, it's really a pretty arrogant position to take, to tell everybody they're not worthy of writing a book. Just only people worthy are the ones that are getting published by the big name, big publishing houses. That's just an old, antiquated way of doing it. But the two different paths. If your goal is to put out a world-changing, game-changing book that has brand new ideas and it's a game changer for everybody, then what we do is not right for them. We'll tell you that also. Ours is, we do not try to create New York Times bestsellers, ones that are going to sell tens of thousands of copies. We create books that'll do two things. One, will call out to your prospect, and they'd want to order the book for free through your funnel. If we send paid traffic or referred traffic over to that funnel, it'll convert. It'll call it your ideal prospects. They'll get into it, and you can start your conversion process with them. That's number one. Second is to give you that authority positioning. And one thing in our world, even the one we're in, is that we know how the book things work. We see how many people are publishing books, how common that is, and how that's just something that most successful entrepreneurs now have a book. And and that's definitely one that what Ryan's seeing also. There's so many people having books. What used to be a more elite type thing. But when you get outside of our marketing world, it's still really impressive. When people are just absolutely just blown away by the fact that people publish books. We see that we have a lot of clients we publish books for, and there's not been one case where somebody has come to us and said, "Wow, I published a book and everybody said it wasn't impressive anymore. It's old hat." That just doesn't happen. It just doesn't. So if your only target is the marketing world, maybe that is impressed by it. But even so, you look at, like I'm just thinking now, you look at Russell Brunson, who just sells to marketers who know how all this stuff works. They grab his book every time he puts one out. He's done he's done 3 that I know of, and every one of them sells. We even still refer people to his the free book funnels that he does for affiliate things, and people still buy them all the time. So yes, I just don't think that's I just don't buy into that. It's something they should not do. Now, the one caveat I will give is that you should not put your last dollars on it and pin all your hopes on it. You should have an offer that already works, that converts, that you can get an ROI on. And that's one of the things when we talk about people also, we're putting through this funnel. They're coming and say, well, I really don't have an offer yet, but I'm wanting to build out a consulting off of this one. We'll say, listen, this is really not for you. That you need to have something up and working already that is going to, something that people want, and that a little bit about the people that want it so they can be targeted in a traffic for it.
That sounds like excellent advice. So I want to thank you again for being on today, Brian, and for the people that are listening, I will be some of the things that you mentioned. I will put down links to some of those websites. Are there any websites or social media sites you would like to mention specifically on how people can reach out to you if they want to find out more about authority marketing, Neuro Authority, or how to establish authority equity?
Yeah, I've got a few. I guess our main site is authorityalchemy.com, and that has podcast episodes. There's a lot of blog posts, free downloads and resources to learn all about authority marketing, how to position yourself as an authority, or how to offer that as a service to clients or as a business of your own. And then if you want to get a free copy of my book, Neuro Authority, it's just neuroauthority.com. And you'll put the link on there so I'm able to spell that thing. And then also, if anybody's wanting to start writing, wants to write about business, marketing, success, you go to marketinginsiders.com and apply there. There'll be a link on that site somewhere for you to go, and you can apply to start writing there. We're always looking for good content.
Okay.
And then if you want to do more information about the Ainsley Now that I talked about, the funnel and book publishing, just go to booksandfunnels.com.
Booksandfunnels.com. Okay, I'll make sure to include that link also.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you again, Brian, and we're going to go ahead and sign off for now.
All right.
And thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Small Business Evangelist radio show with host Jack Schoenberger. To find out more about resources mentioned during this show, or to let us know you're interested in being a featured guest on an upcoming episode, please visit thesmallbusinessevangelist.com.